Does sugar cause ADHD? No, you're born with it. Why do some people think it does? Well, it's a good question. People with ADHD are naturally lacking in dopamine and norepinephrine. But what does this have to do with sugar? Sugar very quickly activates the dopamine system in the brain, faster than just about anything else. Hey, maybe you've had enough sugar system? Well, that's governed by norepinephrine. Those of us with ADHD are much more sensitive to the behavioral effects of sugar than those who do not have it. So sugar does not cause ADHD, but it can make the symptoms much more noticeable to others. Increased consumption of sugar and sugar-sweetened beverages absolutely causes an increase in ADHD symptoms. Many other aspects of our lives, we need to be aware of how and why certain things appeal to us. Why do we want this sugar? In low doses, sugar can effectively activate a dysregulated dopamine system. When the ADHD brain recognizes something as helpful, it often goes into full send mode because, well, if something is good, more must be better, right? So although the physical pathways for sugar are different, technically this is a similar situation that leads to many people with ADHD developing alcohol and drug overuse disorders. Your body just wants to feel regulated. It's identified sugar as something that has elevated the mood before, so why not try it again? I mean, how many people do you know with ADHD that are constantly drinking energy drinks? I mean, are you drinking one right now? I'm not. I just had one though. What are we talking about? What does sugar have to do with this again? Sugar is cheap and readily available in our society, and it is usually the first substance that we are socialized to believe is bad. Something that makes me feel good is bad for me? Why do I have access to it then? Caregivers who are often exhausted, exasperated, especially if they also have ADHD, they can lose resolve and give a child with ADHD some sugar as a means of placating the noises that seem to come out of the mouths of little small children. So inconsistency here is super confusing to any brain. Like, you don't have to have ADHD. It can be, this would be super confusing to a neurotypical brain as well. But the ADHD brain especially craves consistency because it just wants calm. It wants that dopamine feeling in the absence of as much dopamine as the neurotypical person might be feeling. But when we're given sugar as a kid and then also told it's bad, I mean, that's weird for anybody. There are many different things that, activate that dopamine system in our brain. Some of them can be good. Some of them can even be helpful. Too much can have negative side effects. The ADHD brain is definitely into shortcuts, so many people with it develop a sense early on that things that make us feel better are bad for us, which in fact, just the amount that could be bad for us. It's the same thing with everything. Did you know that you can die of water poisoning if you drink 55 gallons of water all at once? I mean, water's good for us. We're made of water. If we have too much water, it can be bad for us. Water's not bad, it's just the amount. And that's the same thing with ADHD and sugar. Sugar's not the problem, it's the amount, it's the frequency. And it is also what we get socialized to believe about it that I think is the real problem. This is just one of the ways that people like me with ADHD develop oppositional defiance. We're trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and inconsistencies paired with a potential dopamine hit bait and switch, well, voila. The defiance seems to be born from a lack of understanding between caregivers and developing minds as to what is good for us. So give yourself some compassion for feeling irritable and exhausted sometimes. You're trying. Success is uncertain, and it's also really tough to define. But if you recognize that it is up to you to unlearn these ineffective behaviors and replace them with newly trained, sustainable, and effective ones, that is where you set yourself free. The list of things to untrain can really feel overwhelming, and the list of things to train can actually be short and encouraging. Train yourself to be aware, to record what you do, to understand why you do what you do. When you do this, now you're in a place to create your own path.